knowledge is not enough. What we need is truth. Truth is not simply knowledge. Truth is knowledge which subjectively engages you. And today we know everything, but we don't really subjectively assume this knowledge. That's why I think today more than ever we need to distinguish between knowledge and truth. Again, knowledge is objective knowledge, but it doesn't oblige you to anything. We don't need just science telling us how things are. We need knowledge which is engaged knowledge. This is why I hate, although they do some good work, I hate the logic of charity, which is part of the big corporate capitalism today. Charity, I think, helps reproducing the very situation which it pretends to fight. What do I mean by this? Allow me to read you a quote, the beginning of Oscar Wilde's excellent essay, The Soul of Man Under Socialism, which tells it all. Oscar Wilde claims that, quote, indeed, their remedies, charity and so on, are part of the disease. The proper aim is to try and reconstruct society on such a basis that poverty will be impossible. It is immoral to use private property in order to alleviate the horrible evils that result from the institution of private property. This last sentence, I think, provides a nice formula of what is wrong with, for example, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Bill Gates, first, in a very brutal capitalist tactic, amasses enormous amount of money and then gives part of it back. I think that we should attack also Bill Gates' vacuous pan-humanitarianism. The answer to Bill Gates should be the title of a book published by an Austrian friend of mine, Sama Naami. The title of the book is Refusal of Respect. Why we should not respect foreign cultures and our own also not. I think this multicultural formula of all cultures are worth of respect and so on is totally deceiving and false. No, behind every culture there is a barbarism. So the solution is not respect other cultures but despise your own. It's also not, of course, the racist formula of only our culture is great one, despise others. No. We should be universal in the sense of sharing what is wrong, connecting what is wrong in our culture with what is wrong in other culture. That's why, I will go to the end here, it may shock you. The citizens of a developed country who thinks that most that he can do is to open his land to immigrants is in a way wrong. No, I'm not saying that I'm against immigrants, but I'm saying that already to formulate the problem in this way, as if the big dilemma is open our limits to immigrants or not, is to accept the basic mystification, to confront the true problem. But why are there immigrants? We should fight to change the social order which makes some people immigrants. Humanitarianism, again, is not enough. And especially, to go even more to the end, pacifism is not enough. It's horrible to say this apropos Ukrainian war, but I really despise all those who are saying these days, we need peace and so on. Are we aware that peace, the desire for peace, is always the desire of occupiers? Israel doesn't want anything more than peace on the West Bank. Peace means you firmly have under your hand the terrain that you occupied. And I'm totally convinced that Russia now wants peace in Ukraine. Peace means we occupy it. We have the firm hold over it. No, we live in a crazy time where wars are no longer the old wars between nation states, but they are really, in some sense, peacekeeping interventions. So we need a total mobilization against this type of false peace. To conclude, I want to destroy another of your, maybe, illusions, which is, yes, we have to step out of these political manipulations and so on. We need poets and thinkers. No, they're the worst. I hope to shock you here a little bit. My formula is no ethnic cleansing without poetry. You know, most of us, we are relatively decent people. And take any of you, since you are probably normally human and me also, if I were to kill you, obliged to kill you, it would be very difficult for me. I see you in your eye, I see you are another human being. I cannot do it. And here, poetry and thinking or religion, some high ideology enters. As Steven Weinberg, the well-known quantum cosmologist, said, he said, without religion, good people would have been good people and bad people would have been bad people, but we need something like religion to make good people do bad things. I'm speaking here from my own experience, the horrible civil war in ex-Yugoslavia, where we can clearly see how the war was grounded decades ago in nationalist poets and so on. Just look at modern poetry, how many of them, from Yeats to Ezra Pound and so on, were fascists. So, again, since we are minimally decent people, we need poetry or national mythology to make us ready to do horrible things. Again, the horror of today's wars is that they express something that we no longer can call, as when I was young, apropos Vietnam War, the military-industrial complex, but I think we should call it the poetic military complex. The army doing the work outlined by poets and thinkers. And it's the case today in Russia. You cannot understand Putin without Russian nationalist artists doing propaganda for him, convincing Russians that they have a special mission, or without his court philosophers like Alexander Dugin, who claim there is a special Russian truth opposed to European truth, and that only war can decide. So we are in a very difficult situation. Both obvious solutions, that is to say, poetry thinking, but also its opposite, brutal pragmatism, they don't work. And I think this is why a true revolution is needed. Not the old communist revolution, but we have to change the basic paradigms of how we perceive reality. In 20th century, we tried to change the world too quickly, too much. Now we have to step back and interpret, understand our world in a different way. Thank you.